This could be a very short stream because I don't think anybody can give me an answer. Because if you're accused of inciting terrorism, you would expect that there was some act of terrorism that you could be said to have incited. Now, I know there are offences that are called attempts. They are called inchoate offences. So you could be inciting somebody to commit a crime, but they didn't actually do it. But the incitement of someone to do it is in itself a crime. So that is how it works. And so, from the little that I can remember of my criminal law lectures when I was studying law, you can be guilty of a crime just by saying stuff. And you could be guilty of a crime if you attempt to do something, and even if you didn't get round to committing your crime, you could still be guilty, and it depends on how advanced your preparations were. So I suppose you could be in the pub with your mate saying you're thinking of killing someone, and then you forget about it and then you never do it. Or you could go as far as to, you know, stalk them and follow them. You know, you might plan to, I don't know, cut their break cables or something, something that is intended to cause death, and then you would be done for the attempt because it's more than merely preparatory. So all these offences can be divided in law from something that is just sort of mouthing off with your mates. I think we know lots of people who, some of us know, of our own parents who threatened to kill us when we were children and being particularly annoying. So I think talking about parents, I mean, probably spouses have made threats to kill each other. And fortunately, most of these threats are just said in the heat of the moment. But I guess, if the copper were around, there could be trouble if the copper wanted to get his promotion by convicting you of well, threatening to kill. I think that is a crime, isn't it? I'm not sure how these things go anymore, but I think it used to be a crime to threaten to kill somebody. So I suppose when you think about it, a lot of things that we say and do could get us into a lot of trouble if somebody were trying to get us into trouble. And obviously, Anjem Choudary was a man looking for trouble. He must have known that most Britons were Islamophobes and most Westerners were also Islamophobes, and it seems he felt compelled to say things like Sharia for UK, and I think he could be given credit for doing things peacefully through debate. I was years ago waiting for a debate between him and Douglas Murray to take place at a friend's house in London, and there was some altercation about men and women sitting separately, and then the whole thing was cancelled. And it was really, really a bit silly. Um, but I think there were people who disliked Muslims who wanted to make a point of not being able to bear being separated from their girlfriend for even the duration of the debate. And so it didn't take place, um, or Douglas Murray was deliberately late. I think there's only one televised debate between Douglas Murray and Anjem Choudary, and uh, I, I, I think Choudary got the better of him. I can't remember what it was about now, but um, it. One of the things I know about Choudary is that he is quite a charismatic figure. He's not afraid to say what he wants to say, and saying it in a memorable way. And I think if his life had taken another turning, he could have become quite a accomplished comedian, because he's able to think of um, rejoinders that actually make you laugh, or make me laugh. But he's in jail now, and it seems that he was a little stunned to receive the sentence. But this is the thing. This is the thing about political activism. It makes me think of uh, my former association with Alison Shabda. I put Alison and Anjem Choudary in in basically the same category of victimhood. So some of you will know that Choudary was a trained solicitor. So he would want to, well, he would know that he was uh, walking a thin line, and he would be anxious to be on the right side of the law, except that, the law moved without actually uh, officially telling anyone about it. So basically, as I was trying to explain to you, to be guilty of inciting terrorism, you have to be actually guilty of saying words that could be said to amount to terrorism. And now there's a strange um, offence of directing terrorism, which is even vaguer than inciting terrorism, and or inviting. What was he done for? Inviting support for terrorism. So, um, and also, if you're going to accuse somebody of that, you have to say, well, you you are guilty of some act of terrorism that occurred, and these words would be quoted, and the time and place mentioned. I mean, I suppose you could say it's actually um, you don't have to be in the same room with the people that you accuse that you are accused of inciting terrorism to. So arguably, um, Trump was deplatformed from Twitter in 2021, and he was actually still a sitting American president. But the thing is, once these things are done to you, you've lost all your status, right? This is how it goes. Even if you're not guilty, even if you couldn't find any words that could be um, construed in any way to say that Trump incited the disorder of the 6th of January. I mean, apparently quite a few of the videos have been are no longer available. I mean, I was watching intently throughout, and a lot of these scenes seemed to be quite orderly, and that there were orderly cues, like there was a um a tour guide, and they were in a line, and they just walked in and were sort of shown around. It seemed to me. So, I mean, obviously these are political accusations, and there are people who have a lot of skin in the game. The people who don't want Trump to win are obviously dreading what he's going to do to them if he gets into office again, and they will stop at nothing, including killing him and getting the media to make people forget that there was an attempt on his life. And I don't know, will people who saw it just forget about it? I mean, I know people who didn't even talk about it because they were getting all their news from legacy media, I suppose, or didn't want to upset anyone by talking about some presidential candidate of the American Republic being assassinated. Um, People are afraid, and obviously these legal decisions about what constitutes inciting terrorism or inviting support for terrorism or directing terrorism are very vague words. And you can be found guilty even though nobody actually, com- there was no act of terrorism to be to connect you to, or even people. So as far as I know, um, on the the BBC, there was footage of Chowdhury's door being broken by the police. So that was what he saw, and we saw a very surprised Chowdhury saying, "What are you doing?" And then he was led into his living room and told he was being arrested under, I think, Section 41 of the Terrorism Act. And well, let's look up Section 41. Let me see what it was again. So, helpfully subtitled. I have to listen to it again. Section 41, yes, I was right. So, let us see what it was. Under Section 41 of the TACT, I guess it's Terrorism Act. Police officers have the power to arrest persons suspected of terrorism-related offences without a warrant. So they broke his door down. I'm sure he would have opened it for them if they wanted to, but I guess they were just being theatrical for the sake of it. Broke his door. He was indoors. It wasn't like if you don't open the door, we are coming in. So basically, they were saying he was online and he was talking to certain people, and they were remnants of the group called Al Mahdaroon, which was proscribed, and so he as far as I can tell, continued talking to the people who would have been in our margarine, and and one of them was from Canada, and one of them, and this Canadian Muslim had just arrived in Heathrow. And I mean, how can that be terrorism? So, obviously, if they thought he was going to commit terrorism, they wouldn't have, wouldn't that Muslim have been put on a no-fly list? And wouldn't he have been interrogated at Heathrow or whatever airport he arrived on in to say, better watch it, mate? So I don't quite know what it was, except that what Chowdhury might have done is been too enthusiastic in his postings on social media. So he was under certain restrictions. He couldn't post on social media for a while. And then when those restrictions were officially lifted, he just did. And for doing that, he was guilty of terrorism. So why didn't they just say, well, you can't post on social media forever? I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. I know that many of you won't really care because you're saying you wouldn't be like Anjem Choudary, and therefore you wouldn't be the victim of such crimes. But I've already explained to you what happened to Alison Shabdo, who thought she was living in a country that didn't have Holocaust denial laws, and then they got her on something else. And even if she had argued successfully that she wasn't denying the Holocaust, because she was actually acknowledging the Holocaust by talking about the fake survivors. They got her anyway. So what we are now to understand is that certain topics may not be discussed, and whether you're actually guilty or not guilty of the law that you're supposed to have broken, it doesn't matter. They're going to get you anyway. And the most interesting thing about it was, in the BBC report, it actually said he didn't incite violence with any form of words at all. And that was the first one with, I'll post it in the link for you. So it's this one by Dominic Casciani. And this was the one which will have his door being broken down. Not like he was some, kind of criminal, like, flushed drugs down the toilet or something. I think it was at 5:30 in the morning. So let me see. Let me quote the words. Okay, I just have to search violence, and it'll take me to the word I want. So it occurs twice. For more than a quarter of a century, Anjem Choudary, 57, has promoted the Islamist ideology underpinning jihadist violence in the UK. And the next reference to violence is this. Choudary was careful not to personally advocate violence, So it's acknowledging that he did not personally advocate violence. So, so what's the other word? Not too personally. So was he getting somebody else to advocate violence? Who was it? No answer. So basically, they said they caught him because they got US and Canadian undercover officers who were attending these ITS talks, Islamic Thinkers Society. Now, I was following him quite closely when he was posting on, if there was some talky um, social media platform, not YouTube, I can't remember what it was now. And I listened to him and trolled him. And then eventually I couldn't post anymore. So I was not Flavor of the Month with him. And I did ask questions. And did I just tell you that his lectures reminded me my um, of my first year law lectures? So that was what it was. You know, he was talking about precedent, certain Quranic principles, and how they're going to be applied. And really, it wasn't a big deal, considering that we have Sharia in this country. I mean, obviously, it's Sharia. The Sharia councils only deal with property law, you know, disputes between Muslims over property, which would mean inheritance disputes, family law disputes, and divorce disputes over property. So I'm looking forward to actually reading the judgment, which is not as yet available. But you know, even in the BBC report, it's saying he did not personally advocate violence. I mean, but anyway, he's guilty because we hate him, right? So this is a kind of legal system we now have, and I'm saying that Alison Chabot was herself also guilty of this kind of quote justice unquote, and those who gloat about it should have another thing. People like Jay Walker, who is just cock-a-hoop that Chowdhury will be in prison until he's 86 or something with no hope of parole because apparently he's such a charismatic personality that people will just want to um, kill for him. But have they? I suppose what he did wrong was in not distancing himself from violence in a way that appeared sincere to others. And I suppose tone is very important. And I suppose his mistake is in not in wanting to rouse a rabble to overthrow Western governments. So this was the report before his sentencing. I'll read you his sentence. I'll read you the report about his sentence. So it just goes on about. Oh, okay, I'm just going to do a word search for violence because that's the operating. Right. So, first sentence with violence in it. Al Mahajaroon, which emerged in the late 1990s, has been linked to dozens of acts of terrorism, with followers committing acts of violence both at home and abroad. I should give you the link so you can follow it. Okay, the word violence occurs 6 times. So, second reference. Mr. Justice Wall said in approximately 30 lectures Chowdhury had encouraged members of the Islamic Thinkers Society, a code name for the Al Muhajiroon network, into confrontational street preaching and acts of violence. Well, I'd be interested to see what the words consist of. Quote, "You thinly disguise these exhortations as lessons in Islamic theology," said the judge, adding that Chowdhury knew members of the organisation would carry out acts of violence whether or not he was personally involved. So it was a kind of nudge, nudge, wink, wink violence, apparently. So how can that be proven? And anyway, as far as I know, no acts of violence have been committed. And then next sentence with violence in it. Organisations such as yours normalise violence in pursuit of an ideological cause, said the judge. Well, you see, no examples are given. Next sentence containing the word violence from the judge. The danger you pose is in your organisational skills and your skills as an orator rather than as a man who uses violence personally. I cannot foresee a time when you will cease to be dangerous in that way. And that's it. Now, so he's Justice Wall is saying the existence of Anjem Choudary is enough to incite violence. I mean, now he's put into a position of he doesn't even have to say anything. He doesn't even have to transmit any thoughts for people to realize that you're going to go to prison even if you haven't incited violence. If you propose a change in the political system of the West. Is this now the case? Because really, what you can definitely accuse Anjem Choudary of doing is that he's saying Sharia for UK. So what does it say about these liberals who can't even cope with a civilized debate? It's not that Choudary didn't try to talk to the most eloquent defender of liberalism that they can find, which is Douglas Murray, who is a member of the Henry Jackson Society, or he works for them or something. Anyway, he's one, who's Oxford educated, and he's so elegant and eloquent about liberalism and his hatred for Muslims, but they can't come up with arguments to say. I mean, what are they going to say to Chowdhury? Like, we don't need your. Okay, can you just imagine a conversation between the two? So Chowdhury says Sharia for UK. That will be best for everyone. And what is Douglas Murray going to say? I don't like it. I don't wanna. You can't make me. Is that what he's saying? I mean, I don't know. What does Douglas Murray say other than he hates Muslims? Does anybody have a clue? And if you know if you know the answer, then come and tell me. So, Jay wants to talk, and here we go. Here we go. Jay, you tell me exactly what Douglas Murray would say to Anjem Choudary when he says Sharia for UK. We're waiting. I've posted the link to him. You know, life in prison.
Hi, Claire.
What have you to
Hello.
say? Hello, 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 life in
Well,
prison. What would you
so
like to say?
what in I sense, and I could be wrong, that you admire Chowdhury.
Well, he is quite eloquent. He does make his case clearly. He doesn't mince his words.
And that's what you admire about him, the fact that he can but it hasn't done him very, very well because as a so-called legal expert, I mean, you both have that in common in that you both have failed solicitors or lawyers. I don't even think you got off the ground, but it hasn't worked out very well for him because this is now the second time he's been found guilty and sent to prison now for life. And you you seem to be saying that it's actually a wrong decision. Okay.
Because there isn't it. I can't see any terrorism that he was connected with, and if there was any specific act of terrorism, then the police would have come for him ages ago.
So he hasn't actually planted a bomb or put a knife in anyone. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So you're going to say, well, he did incite terrorism, and it's like, fine.
No.
You want to do that? You have to make the charges stick.
Let me stick to what I say and let you stick to what you say. You sent me a message today that said that people kill for him. What did you mean by that?
Did I say that?
Yeah. Do you want me to send it back to you now on WhatsApp? Okay.
You're talking about the killers of Lee Rigby, right?
No. We're talking about Anjem Choudary and you saying that people will kill for him.
I don't remember saying that, I must admit.
Well, it was about 34 minutes ago.
Okay, well, send it to me.
Would you like me to read it out in the context of it?
No, I'm happy to read it out. So we were talking about the difference between, because what all this is about is you're saying.
Let me explain it. You're waffling. Shut up. Listen.
No. I'm.
No.
Saying.
No.
Claire, okay, actually, go ahead.
Right. Claire idolizes Choudary and likes to see some of herself in him. both looking for trouble, both claim to be legal experts, both pushing the boundaries, both narky, edgy. So Claire said, what do you think the differences between me and Choudary, or rather CK and AC? And Claire said, you could say that Choudary has more character and influence than me, and people kill for him without him directly telling them to. So you admitted that people will kill for him. What did you mean by that?
I meant that if people...
what did you mean by saying that people will kill for him?
Well, because you were talking about the...
No, what do you mean? What do you mean about people will kill for him?
Well, we were talking about the killers of Lee Rigby.
Don't whisper. You cannot hide from this.
Because
what
you
do you
were
mean
the one who
about
went
people
on.
will kill for him? It's not a trick question. What do you mean by saying people will kill for him?
It is believed that people will kill for him.
No. You didn't say that. You said people will kill for him.
Yeah, but obviously.
Right. Now you admit it. So you think people will kill for him. So he hasn't incited.
It is believed by the court that people will kill for him without him directly telling them to.
So how did he get them to kill for him?
You were talking about Lee Rigby.
No. Answer the question. Legal expert. How did he get people to kill for him if he doesn't directly tell them?
Because the killers of Lee Rigby went and did it off their own bat, and they couldn't find any evidence that he told them to kill him.
How did he get people to kill for him?
I didn't say necessarily.
You did say it. You've just read it out. I've read it out.
Yes. And I said there should have been words in it that said people. It is the court believed that the people kill for him without him directly telling them to.
How did he get people to kill for him?
By talking about jihad.
So you admit now that he did get people to kill for him?
No, I don't necessarily, because we don't know. We don't know. No, I've already said that.
So you said he did get people to kill for him.
The court believed that people kill for him without him directly telling them to.
No, but you, Claire, you think people killed for him. You admitted it. And now you're saying he's not guilty because he didn't kill anybody.
No, I'm saying no evidence could be found of him inciting terrorism or inviting support for terrorism or directing terrorism.
Right, but as you
because
say,
the reports that I just read out showed that the police couldn't find any evidence of that.
Right, but as you say, people did kill for him. Okay.
Well, I'm saying the court believed that people would kill for him or kill for Islam.
Claire, this was a private conversation between me and you.
Yes, exactly. So
I didn't send
I
it.
think I
You
can.
sent it.
Yeah, and all these words have to be qualified, and I'm happy to qualify them.
Right. So how did he get people to kill for him?
It is believed that people kill for him without him directly telling them to. So the court believed that people kill for him, like the killers of Rigby, without him.
Okay. Let me ask you. Let's see. You know, you believe in truth, morality, and whatever the hell it is.
I do.
Right. Whatever. Okay. Let me ask you a question now, and this will test your principles. Okay. Do you believe that Anjem Choudary encouraged people to commit terrorism?
Well, I know he encouraged people to join ISIS, so I suppose you could say that was inciting. Now, I do remember him saying that.
So the question was, do you believe that Anjem Choudary encouraged others to commit acts of terrorism? Now, it's either a yes or a no, or I don't know.
Well, I don't know, because ISIS is
No,
well, you could call
Claire.
it. Oh,
Claire, we're not,
there is a
no.
difference between war and terrorism.
No, we're not talking about ISIS, right? You believe in truth. What is it? What are the three pillars of your principle?
Truth, logic, and morality.
Truth, logic, and morality. Well, let's practice truth. Let's practice morality. And what was the other one? Logic. Right. There's not much of that going on at the minute. So
how have I been illogical?
Right. No. Right. So let me ask you again for the third time. Okay. Do you, Claire Kaur, believe that Anjem Choudary encouraged others to commit acts of terrorism?
Which acts of terrorism are you referring to?
Any?
Well,
let's not filibuster change it. Let me ask you again. It's a very straightforward question.
If somebody accuses you of stealing, you're quite entitled to say, what are you accusing me of having stolen? If somebody accuses you of murder, you're quite within your right to say,
Claire, you're floundering.
Who am I supposed to have murdered? Now, if you want to accuse somebody of inciting terrorism, you have to say, well, there was a particular act of terrorism that he had incited. Yes.
But you said people killed for him.
It is believed that
No.
Because he knew the killers. Because he knew the killers. No, you're the one who told me that, reminded me that he knew the killers of Lee Rigby, right? You said he was at their wedding.
He officiated the wedding of the main man who killed Lee Rigby, yeah.
Yeah, so that there was obviously a social connection.
I don't know. I don't like saying this, right? But I don't know if you are like genuinely lying or you just are incredibly thick.
Look, what I'm saying is that
I know what you're saying, and that's why I think, are you lying or are you just so thick?
What am I lying about? What am I lying about?
By not demonstrating truth, logic, and morality.
Okay, what do you want me to admit?
I want you to display truth, logic, and morality.
So make a statement and invite me to agree with it. Okay? So we
No. I've got more faith in you than yes or no. Okay.
Okay.
So
what is the question again?
Okay, then. Do you believe that Anjem Choudary encouraged others to commit acts of terrorism?
If you're saying
okay.
You see, you asked me a question and you won't let me answer. Well, I mean,
let me try this one. Okay, one more time for you, right? I know the answer to did Anjem Choudary encourage others to commit acts of violence? I know the answer is yes. You know the answer is yes. And I know that you know the answer is yes. And you know that I know that you know.
Yes.
Right? You have nowhere to go.
What is your point?
No. The only place
the thing is, you keep asking your question, and when I begin to answer,
no.
You're talking.
The only place you can go is to actually display logic, truth, and morality by saying yes.
What do you want me to agree with?
I don't want you to agree with anything. I want you to display truth, logic, and moralities and demonstrate that you actually adhere to the principles that you speak about.
Okay.
So be honest.
What principles have I?
Truth, logic, and morality. Do you believe that Anjem Choudary encouraged others to commit acts of terrorism?
Okay.
No, it's not okay. It's fucking yes or no.
No, because I can't give you a yes or no answer. Because if you're talking about, I know he encouraged people to join ISIS. Are we agreed on that?
I'm just not
are we
interested in what you're going to waffle about.
So has he been
You can
charge.
get waffles at the shop. I don't need to listen to your waffle. Do you believe that Anjem Choudary
If
encouraged
he
others
did
to commit
encourage
acts of
people to
terrorism?
join ISIS, and if ISIS is a terrorist organization, then yes, he clearly is guilty of that. But I don't.
So hang on. So you've just admitted that Anjem Choudary incited people to join ISIS, which is terrorism. So
Yeah,
let's
but
look
it
at the
was
title of. Wait. Let's look at the title of your stream. Can you read it out, please?
what act of terrorism did Anjem Choudary incite?
Right. So you've answered your own question.
Well, there is a question mark over whether joining a war is whether war and terrorism are the same thing.
No, Claire. A minute ago, you said that encouraging others to join ISIS is an act of terrorism.
Well, because it's not clear.
No. So let's.
No, it's not clear because what happens is so ISIS is a
So
terrorist.
your answers are not clear.
Yeah, well, all these big ideas like war and terrorism are confused in many people's minds.
So the answer: what terrorism did Anjem Choudary incite?
From what I can remember of the legal facts was that he was continuing to encourage people to join ISIS until ISIS became a proscribed organization, and then he stopped. That was my memory of it. So he was trying to operate within the law.
So you accept and you've admitted that Anjem Choudary encouraged others to incite to.
Yeah, but at the time, it wasn't against the law for him to encourage people to join ISIS. If my memory serves me, and I think they convicted him because he and his mates were in some cafe, not drinking to the.
No. I don't want a history lesson on Choudary drinking tea that's provided by the DSS. I'm not interested. Okay, so what I'm trying to do for you is to get you to demonstrate honesty, logic, and morality, not waffle. What I'm trying to get you to do is practice and demonstrate the very principles that you claim to, but there seems to be some kind of block for you.
I'm perfectly clear that the report from the BBC said he did not incite violence, and nevertheless he was convicted. That is my main concern.
Hang on.
I've just read it. Were you listening when I read out the 6 sentences that mentioned violence? And the report saying he did not personally incite violence, but nevertheless he was convicted of terrorism, of directing it or inviting support for it.
Right, so he was
But there's no
convicted.
evidence, and
Right,
this
he
is
was
my
convicted
concern,
of
that you're
directing.
guilty even though you're not guilty.
Okay, so he was guilty of directing terrorism. Okay.
That was his conviction.
Can I ask you some? Let me try this question. Do you think Anjem Choudary is a danger to society?
I think our government is a danger to society.
No. You have to answer the question. Do you think Anjem Choudary is or was a danger to society?
Well, conflict is always.
Why do you use the word conflict, Claire?
Yes, because obviously his ideas are in conflict with the liberal order. And obviously we're going to come down on him like a ton of bricks.
So mind. That's not a problem.
So are you?
Am I a danger to society, Claire?
Well, I think you're part of the problem.
Am I a danger to society?
Not as far as I know.
Right. Do you think
If you're
Anjem
not a
Choudary?
criminal, as far as I know.
Do you think Anjem Choudary has been a danger to society, or even still is a danger to society?
Well, he has not, as far as I know.
No. Do you think that Anjem Choudary has been a danger to society?
No, I'm not going to give you yes or no answers because
Why not,
basically,
sir?
no, because it's more complicated than that.
No, it's
So
not. It's
obviously,
fucking simple.
no. I understand how liberals would feel threatened by Anjem Chowdhury's ideas. Of
No.
course, I think we can
We're
all
talking about
understand.
nail bombs flying over Blackfriars Bridge and getting your head cut off outside Woolwich Barracks. We're talking about a threat to society. Now, do you believe that Anjem Choudary has been or is a threat to society?
I'm
You've already
perfectly
said to me that
happy to
people will
say,
kill for him.
I am
Do you
perfectly
think?
happy to
Do you?
say, I am perfectly happy to just let me answer the question that the liberal order believes him and his ideas to be a mortal threat to the liberal order. He and his ideas are a threat to the liberal order. I think we can both agree on that, can't we? That's
So,
why.
if people, you've admitted that people will kill for him. So,
Well, we
under that,
know that Muslim terrorism does happen.
right?
I'm certainly not going
What
to
sort of
avoid
terrorism
Muslim
was
terrorism.
Anjem Choudary? What he's being given life sentence for? What sort of terrorism?
It's not. He's directing, as well as I can tell you.
Directing. What sort of terrorism is he being directing?
Usually, when people get you, it would be for inciting terrorism or committing terrorism. But this directing terrorism thing is a new thing.
You
And
know,
even they go for inciting terrorism.
okay, I want to bring it back to like normal. The guy who you are championing,
I deny that I'm championing him.
defending.
I'm saying that if you're not guilty of something, then you're not guilty of it.
You sent
It's
me a
not
message.
because,
Hey, you sent me a message saying, "How am I like Anjem Choudary?"
yeah, because he wants Sharia for UK. I want Sharia for UK.
That's fair enough.
And I'm
But he
saying
hasn't been sent to prison for
the
life for that.
difference the difference is that, well, I guess he's far more charismatic than me. And, obviously is inciting or trying to incite or is perceived to be inciting terrorism. Well,
Do you think Anjem Choudary should be put in prison for life?
I don't think so.
Do you think Anjem Choudary should
Because
be?
I think all ideas should be dealt with.
Do you think Anjem Choudary should be kept away from society?
I think he has radical ideas that need to be addressed and not merely.
No. The question
I
is.
just answered your question. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. You're answering another question. It's called circular logic. Do you think that Anjem Choudary should be kept away from society?
I just said no. And then you said no. It's like, what do you want me to say?
So wait.
You want me to say
So
yes?
you've already admitted that people will kill for him. You've already admitted that he.
No. I am saying that we live in dangerous times. There is dissent in Muslim and non-Muslim circles. We are being prevented from discussing ideas, and this prevention of discussing our grievances will eventually result and has resulted in terrorism all over the world.
Do you think that ISIS recruiters should go to prison?
There is a view that ISIS was
I'm going to
created.
try this again.
There
Okay.
is a
Do
view
you
that
think?
ISIS was.
Do you,
Let me finish.
do you
Let me
no, no,
finish.
no, no, no.
ISIS was
Listen.
created. Was a creation of America, of the neocons, because they wanted ISIS to go
No,
and attack
no,
certain
no, 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 no.
governments in the Middle East. I'm sorry you haven't heard about that, but that was
No,
exactly.
no, no. You know what you're doing, right? I want to go back. Look, I'm going to go back to the question again, and I'll keep going back to it till you answer it. Do you think ISIS recruiters should go to prison?
ISIS was a creation of the West.
No, 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 no. Let's go back to the start. It's
So,
not
so
a
you're,
question.
so I'm saying, even if you don't agree with my
Okay, I'm
view,
going to go back to the start when you finish your waffle. I'm going to ask the question again,
well,
right?
and I'm going to repeat my
The question
answer.
I'm going to
So
ask
if
later
it is
is
the
this one.
case that the neocons
Okay.
started
Do
ISIS,
you think ISIS recruiters should go to prison, Clark? Or
well, there was a time when it was legal for him
do you think
to.
that ISIS recruiters should go to prison, Clark? Or
It would depend on whether they were proscribed or not. So there was a time
do you
when
think that ISIS
ISIS.
recruiters should go to prison, Clark?
There was a time when ISIS was not proscribed, and therefore it was legal for Chowdhury to invite support for ISIS.
Well, how
Do
about
you
now?
understand? Do you understand my answer? There was a time when ISIS was not a proscribed organization. Do you know what
No,
it
no,
means to
no.
be
Okay.
proscribed? Do
My
you know what it means?
my
Okay,
answer is yes. Okay.
yes.
Should ISIS
So,
recruiters?
you don't care about the niceties of these rules. So, what is
No,
the
no,
point
I
of
don't. No.
proscribing? What is the point of proscribing an organization? Do you know what it means? Do
It's,
you know what it
you
means
know,
to
it's,
proscribe
it's
something?
actually painful for me to see you stoop like so low. I know there's been lows in the past with
I'm just going by
Ron
the
Vance and
rule,
everything,
by the
but
letter of the law. So basically, there was a time when ISIS was not proscribed.
I'm not interested.
Yeah, I know. It's too much for you to understand. But
No, you're not. You're
going
waffling.
on, keep
You're
going on,
trying to get
because
time. You're just
basically
getting time.
you don't, you're not a lawyer. You don't
You're
understand
not either.
how these things work.
Tell me what court you've practiced in.
I don't have to practice. I just have to understand the difference between
So
being a
hang on.
proscribed
So you're not a
organizer.
lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. But you
Okay,
say to me, I can't talk
so
about law because I'm not
should
a
be
lawyer.
able to
You're not
understand
either.
the difference between a proscribed organization and not being a proscribed organization. Now, what do you mean? Do you know what it means to be proscribed?
So do you
No,
think
wait, so
ISIS
you're not going to answer.
recruiters?
Why don't you look it up and then tell us what you think it means?
So do you think ISIS recruiters should go to prison?
There was a time when ISIS was not proscribed, so at that time, when it was not proscribed, it would have been legal to invite support for them. And but after they were proscribed, then it would have been a criminal act to invite support for
Do
them.
you think people who direct terrorist groups should be sent to prison?
I don't even know what it means. We can have a look at what it means to be directing terrorism. I think it means
Well,
something.
it's what Chowdhury got
Yeah,
done
but
for this time.
the creating all these offences in order to get him. Do you not understand that they're
Mm,
creating these new offences
right.
just to get
Hang
him?
on, hang on, hang on.
So I've
Oh,
never
whoa,
heard
whoa,
of this
whoa, whoa.
crime of
This is now
directing
an
terrorism
this is a new
until
whoa, whoa,
until until
whoa,
Chowdhury's name was mentioned. So
whoa.
let us look at directing terrorism.
Wait. This is a new low. Honestly, this needs time and patience. Right. So your latest argument is that the British legal system invented a new law saying you are not allowed to direct terrorist groups. Okay, right. That's what you think. So Anjem Choudary was directing and organising a terrorist group. So do you think, because maybe there wasn't a law saying that he should be allowed to direct terrorist groups?
But what does it mean?
Well, the law means so.
That doesn't mean, being leading,
organising, recruiting, planning.
Okay, so
together.
saying
creating. Let's say creating a terrorist.
There is a specific meaning, right? And we should just look up the law. Okay.
Why would a terrorist group need organising?
All groups need organising.
Okay. So your complaint is that the British government passed new legislation in order to arrest somebody who was organising a terrorist group. Here's a question for you. Another example for you to practice truth, logic, and morality. So Choudhary's directing a terrorist group. What should the British government and police have done?
About what? No. You're saying.
So hang on.
Organization. So we have to find out what it means to be guilty.
Well, okay. Try it again.
Something called the terms of the offence. So it's like theft. It's like you have to be, doing something and whatever it is to make up the offence, right? You have to have a state of mind, and you have to be guilty of.
Okay, Claire. They've been listening to his phone call. Two of them joined the New York group that he was organising, the terrorist group. So they know that he's organising a terrorist group.
No, he's just giving lectures.
Whoa. Calm down. What do you think?
You're the one who should calm down.
Let me just ask the question. What do you think the police or British government should have done when they saw that Anjem Choudary was organising a terrorist group? Should they have turned a blind eye, or should they?
Was he organising a terrorist group?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does it mean to direct a terrorist group? What terrorist group was this? What offences have they committed? The answer is nothing, right?
So
they haven't committed any acts of terrorism. It doesn't have a name. They haven't done anything.
So are you saying that Anjem Choudary is innocent?
I don't know what act of terrorism he's
supposed to have directed. Hang on. I mean, the judge, who might be more qualified and successful than you,
he won't be able to explain what act of terrorism he was supposed to have incited. And that is why they're using all these vague words like directing terrorism. So it seems that giving online lectures on Islamic theology is directing terrorism, is it?
So what do you think the police, British government, should have done when they got evidence of Choudary directing, organising, creating terrorist?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know the content of the lectures in theology. So I'm looking forward to reading the judgment when I guess they'll be quoting him saying this or that in his lectures, his online lectures in theology.
When judges give sentences, if a person got, say, a £30 fine, what do you think the level of the criminal act would be?
Oh, you're saying because he's been put away for so long, it must be really terrible.
Well, it was leading to that.
Well, I'll say it for you. So obviously, the liberal order is afraid of him. And instead of addressing the issues that he raises, they've chosen to silence him. They're doing the same to Trump, you know. I mean, don't think, oh, yeah, I don't like Muslims. I hate Chowdhury. They've locked him up for the rest of his life. Great. They can do it to your heroes. Like Trump, they tried to kill him not that long ago because they can't win the argument. They tried to kill Alexander Dugin, and he's not even that radical. He's not even proposing to end democracy, and they still want to kill him. And they got his daughter instead. So I think it's fair enough. If you're going to accuse somebody of terrorism, you'll have to say, well, you were going to blow this building up or whatever it was, but not. Did you watch the Minority Report?
But Claire, you said that people kill for Anjem Choudary.
The court obviously believes that.
No, you said that to me.
Yeah, okay. Well, I left out a few words. So the court believes that.
I think Stephen James is wanting to come on, Claire. He may be in the back.
Fine, but let me finish my point. The court believed. The court believed. I mean, that's why they're saying, oh, he's going to incite people to kill us, commit acts of terrorism, and therefore he has to be locked up for the rest of his life. But I would have thought that if he has indeed committed any act of terrorism or were linked to it, they could have got him on that. But they didn't, so they cooked up all these sort of new offences and new words just to get him. And I know you're happy because you don't like Muslims, but I'm saying it could be used against people you like. Hello, Stephen.
Yo, what's up?
Welcome to the asylum. We've got a strange.
Look, I'd just like to start, for the security services who'll tune into this one, to let them know. I don't think Claire Caugh's door needs to be put through and her hauled off to jail. I don't think she means
just for talking to you guys. I mean, imagine if that had happened by talking to you guys.
But really, what she is she's very misunderstood, and I think she. Well, to be honest, I don't know why I'm trying to excuse her, but look, let's just talk about the facts, shall we, for a second, Claire? The sentencing remarks have been published. I'm sharing them on my screen. We can take a look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we? Yeah, let's take a look at them. Go. So here we are. Sentencing remarks here. We can go down to here. I was just reading them briefly. So on here, I have to sentence both of you for your involvement in Al-Muhajirun, a prescribed terrorist organisation. In your case, Anjem Choudary, you have been convicted of directing it and encouraging support for it. Blah, blah, blah. Al-Muhajirun was established in the latter part of the last century by Omar Bakri Mohammed and you, Anjem Choudary. In your evidence, you described its objective as being to re-establish the community, by which you meant the Islamic community, in the way done by the Prophet. It was in truth a radical organisation intent on spreading Sharia law to as much of the world as possible using violent means where necessary. You initially played a subsidiary role to that of Omar Bakri Mohammed, who was the political and spiritual leader. However, you became the leader in his stead after he was imprisoned in the Lebanon in 2014. You remained in the role of caretaker leader until about the time of your arrest in 2023, although I accept you were unable to direct the organisation throughout your time in custody. and thereafter on license following your conviction for a terrorist offence in 2016. As leader, you made important decisions for the organisation, such as whether it should recognise the formation of the so-called Islamic State in the Middle East in 2014. Blah, 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 blah. I am sure, as the jury must have been, that al-Muhajirun operated under a number of names before you became the caretaker leader and thereafter. You were clear in your message that the name under which the organisation operated was irrelevant to you. What mattered was the aims of the organisation were pursued. Your repeated use of the phrase style and means was evidence of that view. Attempts were made through a series of public announcements to pretend that the organisation had disbanded in about 2004. These messages were designed to protect you or the organisation generally, and were at odds with the things being said by you and others in private, which proved the continued existence of the organisation up until the time of your arrest. One of the names under which al-Muhajirun operated was the Islamic Thinkers Society. This organisation originated as a small New York-based group, which you then used to spread your message to people in America. In approximately 30 lectures to them, you encouraged them to confrontational dawah and acts of violence. You're referencing the need to terrify the enemy with Scud missiles and nuclear weapons was an obvious incitement to violence, as were references made by you to striking people in the neck, a phrase also used by your associate Mohammed Izzadeen in presence to describe the fate of non-believers. You thinly disguise these exhortations to violence as lessons in Islamic theology. Your true message would have been plain to anyone who heard and knew of your history. So what do you think to that, Claire Cole?
Well, I would like to hear those lectures. Instead of saying, oh, those lectures could have been construed to whatever. I have a pretty good idea of which verses he might have used, but I would still like to listen to those lectures. But we won't ever be allowed to hear them.
Wait, well, do tell, what are the verses about Scud missiles and nuclear weapons?
I mean, there is a verse about terrorizing your enemies, and it's like, oh, so shocking. It's like, well, what's the point of not terrorizing your enemies in a war situation? I mean, for somehow, for Muslims to say that, oh, shock horror, but oh, for the rest of, the world, it's like, yeah, let's nuke them. Let's talk about nuking them. Yeah.
Which war are you referring to?
She'll say in a hypothetical one. But Claire, let's just go over one of the excuses you were making a few moments just before I got on, which is, and you were doing this constantly with Jay, you were trying to get him over this rock, which is, but the organisation may not have been prescribed at the time, Jay. So here we are. There are a number.
They were going on about,
right,
and you said, well, I mean, after it was prescribed, I did not invite support for them.
Well, let's listen to the judge's remarks here. There are a number of factors which lead me to conclude that your behaviour was of the highest culpability. Your involvement in this terrorist organisation was planned and deliberate. You were a founder member of al-Muhajirun. You willingly took over its management from Omar Bakri Mohammed, knowing that it had already been prescribed as a terrorist organisation by the Home Secretary. By the time you did so, you had been a member of the organisation for approximately 15 years, including the period between 2010 and 2014 when the organisation had been prescribed.
Okay, so it was prescribed. I mean, Hizb ut-Tahrir had been prescribed. So, well, I guess, I mean, the thinking of prescribing AFD, what does that mean?
Your equivocation really is sickening. The day after Stockport of all days. I'm sure from the agreed facts
what has that got
presented.
To do with anything? What has that got to do with anything?
Let's also remember, Claire, that this isn't just a judge, like just somebody who's just wanted to get rid of, a member of the establishment wanted to put a poor Muslim in prison for establishing views. This was a jury trial. Okay. I'm sure from the agreed facts presented to the jury at trial that Mohammed Ishtiaq Alamgir, Sajid Idris, Mohammed Hamza, Haider Khan, and Rajib Khan committed terrorist-related crimes while you were directing Al Muhajirun. Al Magir made speeches.
What were these terrorist crimes? I'm sorry, I'm not aware.
Alam Gir made speeches encouraging support for Islamic State. Sajid Idris was involved in distributing terrorist publications. Haider Khan made plans to travel to the Middle East to join Islamic State. And Rajib Khan encouraged support for Islamic State. It is
This is
noteworthy that
2016. You're reading the 2016 judgment. I want you to read this one, but I guess it's not ready because I was looking for it earlier.
this is
This is
2024.
2016. It's all about ISIS. What this one is about what it means to be directing terrorism.
No, this is from July 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the Crown Court of Woolwich.
Literally 3 hours ago posted. In fact, I'll put you the link in the private chat so you can,
Yes. Oh,
so that you
okay.
can double check.
Yeah, but it's obviously referring to the 2016 judgment against him, and for which he was put in prison for about 5 years, right? Okay, but the sentencing remarks are maybe not.
As we can see here, it's not talking about 2016. Mohammed Hamza Haider Khan sent you a message on the 7th of May 2022 indicating that you were his inspiration. I can safely infer that these people acted as they did because they were members of the organisation you were directing. You knew and intended that members of your organisation would carry out acts such as they committed, whether or not you were personally involved in planning any of their individual crimes. It is clear, for example, that you encouraged Hijra to Islamic State once it had been established.
And you did.
It's 2016. This is still going on about ISIS.
No,
I have also concluded that Siddhartha Dar, whom you described in evidence as being a friend of yours, was a member of Muhajirun and, as a member of the organisation you ran, travelled to the Middle East, where before his death he was involved in beheading people in the name of Islamic State.
Okay, but how was he? The story was that yes, Choudary was indeed encouraging people to join ISIS until it was prescribed, and then he stopped.
Your actions in swearing an oath of allegiance to Islamic State on behalf of al-Muhajirun was itself a terrorist act.
Oh my God.
It is shocking that
Anything is terrorism. Anything that you don't like to hear. It's like, no, it's not. An act of terrorism is doing something criminal, causing damage to property or injury to persons, not swearing allegiance to whatever. Come on, just be reasonable about it.
So it talks about the earlier offence here. The earlier offence was one of encouraging support for Islamic State. You did that by swearing an oath of allegiance to Islamic State and delivering 2 lectures encouraging others to support ISIS, a terrorist organisation.
And he admitted that. I was telling Jay that, yes, I remember him doing that. And then he stopped when ISIS was proscribed. Can you imagine a situation like, okay, when should the government decide to proscribe UKIP or BNP or the Reform Party? It's that kind of idea.
We've just dealt with that. Are you deaf? We've just dealt with the fact that they were clear.
But you just carry on reading it like, oh, because he saw allegiance.
No, they were clear that it was prescribed after. That
Okay,
it was
he
prescribed
saw allegiance
before.
to that after it was prescribed. Is that what you're saying? And that was the terrorism in question. Yes, is that what you're saying? But just by swearing allegiance, it was an act of terrorism.
No. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hold on. Here we are again. You willingly took over its management from Omar Bakri Mohammed, knowing that it had already been prescribed as a terrorist organisation by the Home Secretary. By the time that you did so, you had been a member of it for 15 years, including the period between 2010 and 2014, when the organisation had been proscribed.
Well, was it guilty of any, Al-Muhajiroon, was it guilty of any acts of terrorism?
It swore an oath of allegiance to ISIS. ISIS carried out the Manchester bombings and the London Bridge attack.
I thought it was some random mentally ill Muslim.
No, look it up.
Yeah.
They're
know,
all
the
mental.
referee-
There was a question mark over it.
They're all mentally ill. Anyway, I just thought I'd come on and add some actual documentation to the fire. I actually have to run, so it's been fun.
Thank you for coming.
See you later. You could have got off the stream, Claire, 15 minutes ago and at least escape with just looking a little bit foolish.
This is a technicality, isn't it? These are technicalities.
I'm going to say as well, for your benefit, that if any government or police or whatever are listening to this, Claire is not supporting any kind of terrorist group or violence.
Just the rule of law. I
Yeah,
want
and I'm saying,
justice
yeah.
for all and people to be able to say things without being bound up in jail.
But you really, honestly, you should be careful because
No, I do want to make the point that if you bang up people just for talking about theology, you're going to make people think that only violence is the next way forward. It's already happening, not just in the case of Anjem Choudary. You know, we know what's happened to Trump. We know about the stolen election. We know about, all these, words that are pumped up, filled with hot air, and everybody who wants to believe whatever they want to believe will believe in them.
well, what Stephen was reading and talking
Yeah.
about.
So what he was saying was, the Manchester bombing. It was done by some crazy migrant refugee, right? And the Westminster bridge thing that was done by another crazy too. And I seem to remember that he had a history of converting to, I don't know, other things.
What did these killing the murderers that you're talking about, the terrorists, what did they have in common?
We already know that people who do these things convert to religions and one after another because they're looking for something, and I guess they go crazy in the end. Or, they might start up with their original religion and still blow themselves up. Yeah. But I'm saying there is a lot that Western foreign policy has done to destroy people's countries and then invite the people whose countries you destroyed into the West. And then we pretend to be surprised that they go crazy. I mean, so you mentioned Southport. I don't know the long and short of it. Have they said his nationality? The 17-year-old. Do you know any more about it?
Are you talking about Southport?
Yes, you were the one who told me about Southport.
Well, it was.
I heard it from you first.
Rwanda parents.
Oh,
Apparently
so he's from Rwanda.
Yeah. Apparently, he was born in this country. A 17-year-old introvert. Mother stayed at home all the time. Hardworking father.
Okay, so unfortunately, there is this problem of copycat violence. So we don't even have to be talking about Muslims, but American school shootings. American school kids already have this idea about school shootings, and they joke about it, and some of them get into trouble for it if the teachers believe that they're going to do something terrible. But unfortunately, very sadly, I mean, there's songs about it. Boomtown Rats. Don't like Mondays. That's a song celebrating school shooting.
There's no need to move from the topic.
No, the topic is that there are many violent acts and violent imageries, and as well as violent video games to give people all kinds of ideas in an unstable society without a proper moral system.
Well,
and you don't think it's important to have a book of rules. You're always thinking, let's just blame the Jews or the Muslims when things go wrong, and that'll do me. And I'm saying, no, sort the problem out instead of playing the blame game. And I'm saying also that locking him up is not going to help anything. It's not going to help the liberal order remain in power because they're showing their inability to address the arguments that Islam makes. I mean, okay, maybe soon they're going to stop Speaker's Corner, right? And then what will happen? The dissent will go underground, and we won't even get to hear about it, about why people are not happy with stuff, because our ruling classes can't be bothered to hear our complaints. Because that's what they do. They shut us up and call us names and bang us up in prison. So I think I made the point quite clearly that it's not just Muslims who get done. White people who don't like Muslims or Jews or whatever also get done because they can't be bothered to listen to our complaints. Because they're not going to change anything because, we don't like it. They're just going to continue shutting us up. And, whatever they think of me for saying that, it's a warning. It's a warning to them to think through their methods of governance about how they can make things better. But maybe they don't care about making things better. Which is, I guess, another reason why people might go crazy if they know that their government ultimately doesn't care.
Well, you've managed to move away from the uncomfortable position you were in. for the
Yeah,
last hour.
I don't mind. I don't mind associating myself with people who think that the liberal order should remain, because it's indefensible. It's indefensible, and they can't argue against it. They try to get Douglas Murray. Chowdhury has been wanting to develop, to engage with people. A lot of people from the right and people who Muslims have been trying to get people to argue with them, to engage with them, and saying, "What about this? What about that? What's your answer to this or that?" And they all run away, call us names, and try to get people banged up in prison. That's no way to solve disputes, is it?
It sounds to me like you're floundering, and I think from what Stephen read out the judge's summary, you're a bit
Why
shell
do they keep bringing Muslims in?
No,
If they're
Stephen's
such a
not
danger.
No. I think you're a bit shell shocked, and I think a
I'm
nice
not shell-shocked.
nice cup of tea.
Are you expecting me to delete the stream? Is that what you're saying? I'm not
I think
deleting it.
honestly, for your own good, yeah. I
No, I'm
would.
not deleting it. I'm not
I would.
deleting it.
I know you won't.
I've said nothing wrong. I'm just making the point that it is wrong for the authorities to jail people for saying things they don't like, particularly, making up new offences and not even properly convicting them of it. I mean, of course, you're going to, these people are going to blame any act of terrorism on ISIS, and somehow connect Chowdhury with these people who probably never even met him, right?
Do you mean the one that officiated the marriage?
What?
Do you mean the one who he officiated the marriage for? He'd never met him. Is that what you mean?
No, I'm talking about the Westminster, Manchester one, acts of terrorism. I don't think either of them had met Chowdhury.
Okay, I'm gonna head off, Claire, because you're digging a hole for yourself in many ways. But it's been interesting talking to you as ever, and yeah.
Just please answer the question. Though. Answer the question. What terrorism did Anjem Choudary incite?
You've already answered it.
No. Really, just
No.
you can't do. You see, you can't actually answer the question properly. You have to, pretend that because the court found him guilty, he must be guilty, and you completely ignore the fact that it means that you can't criticize the government without being banged up in jail, and you may applaud it now, but it will be used against you.
No, if you, I don't know. Again, if
I think you already know it's being used against, non-Muslims.
I don't know if you're.
You probably don't remember
being
Julian Assange. What did Julian Assange do? But just do his job as a journalist. He was banged up in literally prison for 13 years. Not that you care.
Okay. Are you continuing the stream, Claire?
I'll just see if there's any comments in the chat.
Okay. Well, thank you for allowing me to come on and have a chat with you.
Sure, anytime.
Thank you. See you later.
Okay, bye. So, Conop says he was supporting European children and Americans getting blown up on the streets. See, no specificity. So when did he say that? And also, I want to make the point that um, well, okay, I don't even know what he was supposed to have said. So taking further what Connops was saying about being indifferent to terrorism, or what was he saying? What was he saying? Supporting European children and Americans getting blown up on the streets. Now, when did he ever say that? Let me see where he might be saying that. I'll just write Anjem Choudary, terrorism, supporting European children getting blown up. I can't really find anything. So if anybody can find something suitable, please post it. It's all very, very vague. So running a banned organization, is that an act of terrorism? Okay, here's one that says, the 57-year-old of Ilford, East London, was found to have given lectures encouraging support for a banned group. So it does sound to be very much a technicality, considering he did not actually. Okay, for the thing to actually make sense, it would be, there was act of terrorism, A, another act of terrorism, B, and this would be listed, and there would be this connection in this group, and there's none of this. It's just inflated words, all entrenched and abhorrent to many right-thinking people. Really? What did he actually say? There's nothing actually quoted by him. So what Conop said about him approving of what was it? Supporting European children and Americans getting blown up. Where does it say that? That sounds a terrible thing, but I can't see any acts of terrorism being listed. So it just sounds like he was running an organization that was not quite approved by the government. So please, somebody, just cite the actual act of terrorism. So I will read more carefully. So Islamic State, that was a long time ago. I'm not going to go, and he's already been done for that. So we're going to do Islamic Thinker Society. thinly disguised exhortations to violence. Really, just saying something edgy is, and even if you say things that could mean violence, I really think you need to cite those words. So hopefully the judgment will let you say it and cite the words that were led to all this. And I just can't find anything about that. So I'm going down it. It's all ISIS, ISIS, ISIS. Okay, wait, let me see. Paragraph 19. Groom young people, online meetings, met a 19-year-old Bengali youth. Now, that does sound, okay, on the face of it, it sounds pretty terrible. But on the other hand, if you don't think you're a terrorist, then what would be the problem? But anyway, I think what the situation is that you're not. I remember some YouTubers saying if you're not 18, we're not going to talk to you. So I guess there's a rule about that. 16 is the age of consent, so in theory, people can marry when they're 16, but apparently they can't join political parties. Let me just check. What age can you be? Can you be to join a political party? And this reminds me, I imagine it's still 18, but there are plans, I hear, of lowering the age to 16. So what does this all mean? You can play a major, so there will be the Labour Party. Can you join the Labour Party if you're not 18? You get refused membership of the Labour Party. Age limit. Okay, I can't find the information. So I know the Young Conservatives have is a youth wing, and you have to be 25 under. What did I just see? Conservative Party allowing 15-year-olds to vote for PM. That's actually alarming. Okay, so this is in the Independent. Conservative Party allowing 15-year-olds to vote for PM despite opposing 16-year-olds voting in general election. So everybody's all over the place. Accusations of hypocrisy as Tory members age 15 or over enjoy full voting rights, while party fights lower voting age for public. Labour and other Liberal Democrats have attacked the Conservatives for allowing youngsters as young as 15 to take part in the leadership race while refusing to lower the voting age for the public to 16. Well, I guess they want more and more stupid people. And obviously, youth is easily influenced. So I must thank Stephen for the sentencing remarks. But I think the very heavy sentence is evidence of their fear. You are an intelligent man and a persuasive speaker to those who are open to messages of hate which you spread. You see, there are all these big words. It's like we're not allowed to hate things. Well, obviously, it's not a pleasant feeling to hate things, but all these emotions are innate in us for a reason. And, obviously, we should hate the thing we should avoid. And what is the government telling us who we can and cannot hate? So basically, they're telling us you can hate certain things if we approve of it, and other things you may not hate. It carries on. You are a man of great determination who has continued to pursue your aims despite your previous conviction for a terrorist offence and subsequent imprisonment. You have no doubt as to the rectitude of your views. Your views are entrenched and abhorrent to most right-thinking people. Who are the right-thinking people? Can you find them for me? It was chilling to hear as part of the evidence at trial your denial of the Holocaust. And you're joking about the 9/11 attacks, which remarks I'm sure were designed to signify approval for what happened that day in New York. Now, there's a range of views on 9/11. Some of them think Muslims actually did it, Muslim terrorists actually did it, and some people think the Americans did it to themselves as a false flag attack. I do not sentence you for holding those views, but the fact that you genuinely hold such extreme views, coupled with your history of unlawful behaviour, is an indication of the danger you pose into the future. I'm sure. So he's basically being sentenced for his extreme views. But what views are extreme? If the government says yes, but you say no, who's the extremist? If the government says no, but you say yes, who's the extremist? I think we already know the answer. You are not someone who can be diverted from that cause by any form of intervention. Here we go. That is what he's being sentenced for. He hasn't given up. You pose a significant risk of causing serious harm to members of the public into the future by committing further specified offences such as this. Basically, by talking to people, so he's not allowed to talk to anyone. The danger you pose is in your organisational skills and your skills as an orator, rather than as a man who uses violence personally. there we go. Because he doesn't give up, he's being sentenced. I cannot foresee a time when you will cease to be dangerous in that way. Right. If you stick to your guns, you will be labelled as an extremist and put away for life. As a warning to others. Now, I wonder how many people in mainstream media will be saying anything interesting about this. I actually looked up Twitter and I couldn't find anything of interest. Maybe the situation has changed, and I will now have a look. But I'm pleased that I tried to deal with the question first. I usually don't really talk about these things much. Let me just see if there's something more to this. Right. So there's somebody else involved. We should have a look at him. This is Khalid Hussein, who apparently has who has been unworldly and who's never travelled to London. Now, how old was he? Khalid Hussein. No aggravating factors, mitigating factors. He didn't do anything other than fly to meet Anjem Choudary. Really. Draconian and extreme, and this is my considered opinion, and an indication of the inability of the liberal order to address any of the issues that he raises. So you can look at it any way you like, but it does show weakness as regards being able to defend the liberal order. I mean, you can see that is a very illiberal sentence for people who actually haven't committed any acts of violence, who stick to their principles. So, well, you could argue against them, couldn't you? I mean, you're wrong because blah blah blah. I always argue. I keep arguing with people, and I think it's useful to keep arguing with people you don't agree with, rather than put them in jail, which I think is definitely a sign of weakness and very, very, very sad for the West. Thank you all for listening. And hello and goodbye, Elliot.